couple of years ago, I started focusing on gratitude and letting people know how much I'm grateful for them. It's one thing to say to yourself every day, I'm grateful I got to wake up. I didn't have to listen to AK-47 fire, but really trying to make a difference in people's lives and letting them know just how grateful for you that you are for even the little things that they do.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. It's freaking Christmas Eve, man. How about that? And we're going to get into it a little bit, but I'm having the same weather as Brent Wright today, maybe.
A little gloomy.
Gloomy. We are supposed to get almost an inch of rain here in the desert, which is a lot. We'll
That's
get
a
into
flash
that
flood.
There's going to be some issues for sure. But anyway, if this is your first time here, I'm Blair Armstrong of Team Armstrong, Coldwell Banker. I'm a global luxury specialist in the world of residential real estate. And you have just found, if this is your first time, Old Guys Still Rock. And today you're going to be watching episode number 134. Dude, can you believe that? 134 today.
Crazy.
A little idea on a walk 2.5 years ago. And here we are, episode 134. We're probably in the top 1% of existing podcasts that still exist to this day. But enough about that. On my left, possibly your right, sometimes all by himself, is a good friend of mine for almost 30 years and the other host of this show, Brent Wright of Brent Wright Incorporated. He is a man with many different hats, from detail shops to body shops to payroll companies to multiple property owner. He and his wife, mostly his wife, this is for you, April, have started a wellness center just a little bit over a year ago. Almost 2 years ago.
2 years Thanksgiving. 2 years Thanksgiving.
So if you're in the Eugene area and you're looking for a state-of-the-art wellness center, from workouts to hyperbarics to far infrared treatment, all this stuff, I strongly suggest you to look up Wright Wellness Center. Go in there. They have a really cool childcare system. You're going to have to figure that out for yourself, but it's pretty awesome. It's one of a kind. But anyway, Brent Wright Incorporated. One thing that I always almost forgot, they just started a company, him and 3 other guys, called BustedTees.com. So if you're into novelty t-shirts, I strongly suggest you check out BustedTees.com. One word, BustedTees.com. Go check it out. It's not a paid advertisement. He's a good friend of mine, so we put it on there. So anyways, how are you? I just said anyways. I hate that word. Anyway, how are you?
I'm doing well. I think that our message and title for today kind of sums up the season for me. Gratitude.
Yeah.
And how it changes the game. I'm feeling, it feels a little bit like Christmas, but not a lot like Christmas. I think you and I have the same sentiment about Christmas. Growing up from 2 different walks of life for different reasons, we both feel similarly, which is odd. But I don't want to get too far deep into that. That's a whole nother podcast.
Right.
But yeah, I'm excited because of my kids' excitement, of my wife's excitement. They really keep me focused and driven, especially in this season. My kids are products of my wife and myself, of course, but products of my wife's upbringing in making a difference in the world and making a difference in how they use and utilize holidays. It's different than the way that I grew up. And so I feel pretty blessed to be able to be a part of that. I'm not very adaptable in that way, but I'm becoming more adaptable in that.
I love that you say that, because I mean, again, we're not going to get too deep into it, because I'm kind of the same way. I'm realizing more and more. I'm going into my 9th year of marriage, even though I know my wife for 30 plus years. I woke up the last couple of days and just realized how amazing, how grateful I am that somehow, some way, God brought my wife and I back together after we dated 30 years ago. And we got married, and just the little things that she does and how she's changed my life. It's been a lot. You've known me for a long time. And I'm slowly getting to that point that I'm kind of just stopping and realizing how I've always known this, but sometimes I take it for granted. Maybe you do the same thing. I'm like, man, God saved me in that way. And I'm just super incredibly grateful for for all the stuff that she does, all the stuff that she has to put up with me.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
anyway, almost got emotional there. But anyway, so you've got this topic. Obviously, we're in the Christmas season. A lot of families are coming together. We've had a tremendous year, and I'm losing my little pouch there for a second. So, but anyway, what was something the thing that triggered you to kind of have this topic today of gratitude?
Well, I made it a point about 2 years ago to really be grateful for every moment, for every opportunity, and to let people know. So, you and I have talked about this on the podcast. Every year I pick a couple of things. So, I pick a word for the year, and I pick a habit that I'm going to, or an action that I'm going to turn into a habit, that I'm going to focus on and turn into a habit. Something simple. Doesn't have to be, very very laborious or onerous. Something simple, like last year I picked that I was going to wipe out the sink after I wash my hands. And I was going to wipe down the countertop, right? No matter where I go, restaurant, my own house, my own thing. Nobody's coming to save you. We talked about that on the podcast. We've talked about stop living your hotel lifestyle. Nobody's coming to clean up after you. Be the person that cleans up after yourself. A couple of years ago, I started focusing on gratitude and letting people know how much I'm grateful for them. It's one thing to say to yourself every day, I'm grateful I got to wake up. I didn't have to listen to AK-47 fire like a lot of countries, things like that. But really trying to make a difference in people's lives and letting them know just how grateful for you that you are for even the little things that they do.
Why do you think that we go away from that so much during the year? I mean, I'm glad that we're focusing on this today, but how do you stay focused on having, when things are going sideways, you want to burn it down, you're just saying, screw it, I'm just going to walk away from this and do that stuff. How are you staying focused in that gratitude moment? Is it something like you're writing down in the morning? Is it something that you have Post-its on the mirror to kind of like, I've got to stay in this mix even though things are crashing around me?
So I do daily habits at the top of every hour.
Okay.
We've talked about this before. So I'm not on social media all day long, but I'm at the top of the hour or the bottom of the hour, depending upon my schedule. I also try to focus on doing one gratitude thought every hour. And even if it's simple, sending a text to somebody, sending an email to somebody, saying it verbally to somebody, I felt that the most impact happens when you say it verbally to somebody. So I really try to focus on that. That's what I started a couple of years ago. So remember, it takes 21 days to make a habit. It takes 90 days to make it stick.
Yep.
Okay. So that's why 75 hard works and is very important. So no different than that, I started doing this gratitude exercise, and it has made a tremendous difference in my relationships. It's made a tremendous difference in my life. From a Christian viewpoint, the devil doesn't like it when you're happy, and the devil doesn't like it when you're grateful.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? You're going to get the fight. It puts me in an uncomfortable situation often because it's disarming to people when you tell them, thank you, I'm grateful for you. A lot of people don't know how to take that. A lot of people haven't heard that.
And that's where I was going with my question. That we become numb to being grateful, shaking hands, holding doors for somebody, right? The door is lava, that topic that we've done, are sending a little text message when you truly, which we mean it all the time, but when you really like, hey, I love you, or something to your spouse. And I love that you have little reminders that get you there, because you can be having a bad day, but it gets you out of that bad moment. And then now you're going to start a ripple effect for somebody else to reach out to them and say, hey, you do it with me once in a while. Hey, brother, I just want to let you know I love you. Thank you for all that you do for me. And man, I could be having a horrible day and like, I love that guy. It's like, that's awesome. And we try to do those things just to say that you're reaching out. That's why I always say, especially during this time, it's so hard for so many people because maybe there's life situations, be it work, it's layoff season. Somebody can be having a hard time. Maybe this is the first year that you're not having a family member for Christmas because they went to go see Jesus or something like that. But those little things almost, like the butterfly effect. It could set the tone not only for that day, but change someone's life forever. But going back to, I want to re-clarify something. Now, you have a reminder in your phone. Do you have it on like a little buzz type of thing?
To start the habit, I just set reminders in my calendar and it goes off on my phone. So to reiterate this isn't a feel-good thing, guys. This is a performance strategy. All the things that I'm trying to do to create these little habits are performance strategies. I'm looking at my notes here because I want to make sure that I'm following in line with this. Like I told you, I formulate these throughout the week and then I drop them into chat and put them into a format that kind of feeds and helps us stay on task and on target with this. The one thing that we've gotten feedback from people is that we barely scratch the surface. So I want to make sure that we dig deep on this one because this really is super important. Gratitude and gratefulness shape clarity, discipline, relationships, resilience, health, leadership, and financial success. It isn't about toxic positivity. It's power, perspective, and momentum. Little habits will propel you into the future in a positive way. It's about power, perspective, and momentum.
So good.
You talk about the ripple effect. The momentum of the ripple effect is huge. December is the largest amount of suicide rate in the world. And if I can change one little thing in somebody's day, in somebody's week, in somebody's month, or I save them from themselves, the momentum and the perspective and the power that's created in that is exponential.
Yeah. So good. So good. Yeah. I think that, that's a big thing. We just mentioned this twice right now. There's a lot of hard times for a lot of people right now. And so if you're watching this, and we're going to do everything in our power to get this out today, but when you're watching this or you're listening to this, just stop it right here. Just pause it for 2 seconds and just tell somebody that you're thinking about them or that you love them or that you hope that you have a good day. Now hit the unpause and then keep watching this. And so,
so
go ahead.
Your point earlier was important because you said, well, I think this is where you were going with this, is that most people think gratitude is something you do after you succeed or after you have a good day or after you have a good thing happen to you or after you have a feel-good moment. Gratitude is what makes success sustainable. And when you're grateful, you're grounded. And when you're grounded, you make better decisions.
Right.
And when you make better decisions long enough, success becomes inevitable.
Triggered a thought. I was just in the fitness center before that I got here this morning and go on this thing. And there's a couple of guys that said hi, like, hey, how you doing? I'm fine. And I'm like, sure you're doing okay? Yep. And you could just tell in them, right? Like
something's off.
And so I'm going to keep asking those guys over and over again. Hey man, just check and make sure you're all good. Yeah. Are you good? Yep. I'm good. And so hopefully that kind of gets them out of that stuff.
Try to reframe that. Try, instead of asking them if they're good, ask them, is there anything I can do for you today that would make a difference in your life?
Even better.
That's going to disarm them. They're still when you say, are you good? You're still at arm's length with them.
I would think that would make somebody stumble a little bit of like, why are you asking me that? No one asked me that.
It does.
And then
it's disarming.
Here's the thing along with that. Then again, learning lesson here, because I'm going to start doing this. Learning lesson here. You got to stop and wait for that answer.
Yes, that is where the magic happens.
You've got to stop. Just like you can ask it, but you can't just walk away from it. Now, again, I'm putting myself out. I
did my part. I'm out.
Yeah. Is there anything I could do for you today? No. Or just stand there and stare at them and see what they say. And maybe that develops a deeper friendship or deeper relationship with that person. We're all meant to be connected to one another. And we mentioned it on a lot of other episodes in the past.
It's a spider web effect.
Right. But we get so disconnected. As you said too, you get lost up into social media type of thing and you have these topical relationships, but where are we really investing into these parts yes, we're talking about gratitude, but how awesome is that if you can save someone's life or someone started off with a bad day, whatever, it changes the whole perspective of that day to get better, but again, I think that now that I'm thinking about more and more, it's so hard to ask that question and just stay there and truly get a honest to God answer.
Just sit in the moment. We've
Yeah.
talked about that many, many
Very
times. So gratitude is the practice. Gratefulness is the identity. Gratitude is something you do. Gratefulness is who you become.
When you hear, I'm just living the dream, what does that do to you?
I've said it.
I know. I say it all the time. I'm just living the dream. And it's more of a sarcastic answer.
Well, and then you get the answer from somebody, well, whose dream?
I don't even know if I get that.
I get that. And I'm like, well, mine, because I'm creating a life that I don't have to escape from. And then it becomes a conversation.
And I love where you're going with this. This is so good. And I hope people really listen to this. You're creating an intimate conversation, which I strive for every single day. You've heard me talk about this in the past. I have a 6-person rule when I go to dinner. I don't like to have more than 6 people because I just don't feel like we're really getting into the meats and bones of what's really going on in people's lives. And the people that do invest in that or respect that kind of thought, it's not to be selfish. I really want to know what your day is like. I really want to know what's going on in your world. You want to let, if people ask me a question, I'm going to let you know what's going on. I want to invest in you, but I also want you to invest into me. And that's where my relationships are. And Brent and I've talked about this a lot too. Our friendships are typically small because we're investing, but we're feeling that some of our relationships are super topical because people don't want to give that in return, which is another thing. And I know they're kind of a little bit off the rails here, so you can pull me back if I'm not going the right direction.
I'm going to, yeah.
Okay. But it's like, just stop and have a good answer and talk to that person and get into a deeper relationship, which instead of you just have relationships, you have true stronghold friendships.
Well, it's not just about expressing gratitude. It's operating from a state of gratefulness, even when things are hard. So if you find that conversation difficult, I'm grateful that you're taking the time to have this conversation. And I want to make sure that this is fruitful for you. So tell me what your expectation is of this conversation.
When you go have, I may do it more than you, and I don't know about this, but yesterday we went out with a group of friends. And when when I'm done, I always text them like, man, it was so good seeing you. Do you do that? Do you like when you reach out to
it's always about a follow-up. So no different than a sales call, right?
Right.
A wise person once told me, treat people you care about like your best customer. What would you do for your best customer? Would you follow up with them at the end of every day? Would you follow up with them at the end of every sale? Would you follow up with them at the end of every interaction? Of course you would, because you're cultivating not just a sale, you're cultivating an experience. People only buy from people that they know, like, and trust. We know that from BNI, right? Going back to our roots. We also know that people buy because they have a feeling. They don't buy because it's a good deal. They don't buy because it's the cheapest. They don't buy because it's what they want. All those things come into play, of course, but they buy from you. You know this as a realtor. They buy from you because you create a relationship. You create an environment that makes them feel good about, I mean, what's your average ticket? 2.5 million, 3.5 million?
Right around 2 million.
They're not buying just from you. They're not buying just the house. They're buying how that house makes them feel when they walk into it. Why do you think people psychologically will bake the cookies, the vanilla smell, make sure the house is warm, make sure the house is cool, depending upon time of year, all those psychological things. So being grateful and having gratitude gets you out of that survival mode. We're all in survival mode every day. And you presenting gratefulness and gratitude to others makes them less reactive, makes your relationship or your interaction more strategic, and it takes the pressure off and makes the interaction and the thinking have clarity.
When you going back to kind of building these relationships and talking about building, you're absolutely right. People are buying me, not really buying the house, or people are not. I'll go for, we have a biggest house inside of the gates of Ironwood Country Club right now. It's 8,300 square feet. We have it listed at $7.3 million. And that's not the point of it is that I competed against some guys that are a lot better than me on paper. But there were a lot of conversations beforehand, like investing. Like, let's not talk about the house right now. What's going on with you? Why, what do you want to do next? What are some of the hurdles you're having? And really invested into that. And that has spawned in from not only to this particular seller, it's now branched off into his immediate family, because I'm dealing with them. This guy's a little bit older, and I'm dealing with a couple of his daughters, and we're having these conversations. And yes, we'll talk about the house. Yesterday, I had a conversation with his daughter, and we probably spent 20 minutes just talking about what's going on for Christmas. Nothing to do with the house. How are you doing? Well, I got really sick and and I'm having this. And I'm like, yeah, it's just a weird year for Christmas for me. But we really cut into it, and it just put the conversation in a whole different tone. And I love that, because I can go back to every single one of my clients, either sellers or buyers, and we become friends in so many different ways, because we just spent some time. And you have to have some harsh conversations once in a while, some realities, especially when things are not going right in a transaction. But you really invest, like, what's going on in life. You just really talk about business and some other things. And you talk about the issue, for me, for really about 3 to 5 minutes. And there's another 15 minutes of conversations about some other things. And it just, to me, what I found, it makes them feel more secure. They know that everything's in good hands. It may not be working out the best way possible at that moment, but they feel really good about the future of that transaction. And I'm grateful for that, because it's been being an introvert, it's really hard to get myself out of my shell to dig deep in that stuff. But I found more and more, the more that I invest into them, and more that and let them know that I'm constantly grateful. I will text them after that conversation, super grateful that you're giving me this opportunity. If you have any other questions that pop up after this conversation that you forgot to ask, just text me or call me and we'll get it handled. And that's constantly building on that. And so I'm grateful for God has given me that opportunity to build on something that really started as, well, your numbers look good and we're going to go with you.
Yeah, so you touched on this. My next topic of this is business and financial growth. In that, I'm going to summarize what you just said. So, gratitude creates better client relationships, higher retention, more referrals, and more trust. People can feel when you're thankful for the opportunity, not desperate for the outcome. You said it. It's not just about selling the house. Grateful people play long-term games.
That's hard in sales, though, brother.
It's a difference between playing checkers and playing chess.
Because when you're really wanting that sale or you're really wanting that deal, it's very hard to take a step back and go, this is not about me. It's about the other person. I'm just a conduit to get it done. And it's very hard to kind of take a step back and not like, no, we got to do this now, or, what's your honest opinion? And I've told people that it's not a good deal. It's just walk away from it.
Yeah.
And they appreciate that.
Have you ever had a client with you and taken away a listing from you and then came back? Why did they come back? Because you didn't say, I'm guessing, you didn't say, why me? Because that's an ungrateful mind. You said, what is this teaching me? And you created resilience during that perceived failure. And so instead of being woe is me and being pissed off at your client, and likely, I'm guessing that the reason why they came back is because the way that you handled the exit.
Yeah. There's been a couple times that, especially in the world of real estate, where real estate agents are like rabbits in a roundabout way. Because there's just so many of us. But I've had people that it didn't work out and they went a different direction. They came back like, we didn't make the best decision. It was really rough. We should have stuck. And we try to push the square peg through the circle. And they've come back and we worked on other transactions past that. But it was, at the point you go, when they hear you say, or I hear them say, yeah, we're just not a great fit for right now. We're going to go a different direction. I might be punching air behind the scenes. I do wrong. This, and this. But sometimes you have to, I think you said it best. You just have to walk away and understand that it's not, maybe there were some things that it did or that someone did, but you just like, I'm just going to take this one on the chin and we'll get better next time.
Well, what you do during those situations is your gratitude for the opportunity turns you into an authority, and it turns your authority into influence. Because people appreciate your effort, they see your potential, and they acknowledge your progress in that relationship and in that opportunity.
When you're doing it, especially in your, let's go with your body shop world, and you're giving people estimates and stuff like that, and you get up to almost to the point where you're closing the deal, and all of a sudden they said, yeah, it's just not the right time. How long did it, and I know this happened, maybe it happens a lot. How long does it take you to kind of like, okay, and just say okay with it? And I think sometimes they're expecting you to say, no, wait, I'm going to do this, and almost grovel for it. You ever have that?
Yeah, and I probably did that early on because you're hungry, right? But I'm grateful for every opportunity that shows up on my doorstep, but not every opportunity may be a right fit. And so thanking them for the opportunity, being grateful for the opportunity truly, and then letting them know that you're here if anything changes.
With that, as I'm going through stuff with the things that I'm bringing up, guys, it's just letting you know there's just things that have happened that Brenda's bringing up. What if they say, okay, it's not the right time, and you find out later down the road that they went with somebody else?
We actually follow up and ask them how it went. And we're good. And we're grateful for the opportunity to have helped them. And we're glad that they got it taken care of. And we want to make sure that they give us an opportunity next time. Because gratitude isn't passive, guys. It makes you present in the moment. And when you're present, you notice opportunities, you listen better, and you move with intention. Gratitude multiplies effort. The same work done from appreciation produces better outcomes than the work done from fear. Hear what I said. The same work done from appreciation produces better outcomes than work done from fear. I am not afraid that a customer is going to leave me. If I'm not a good fit, I'm not a good fit. If somebody else is a better fit and I know they're a better fit, I'm going to give them a referral. I may get more from that referral than I would have ever gotten from the job. I coach other people that are in the same industry that I have businesses in.
How weird is that?
One of my coaching clients asked me, why is it that you're coaching me to do better in my business instead of just focusing on your own? Well, I am focused on my own. And some of these same things that I'm coaching you to do are the same things that I'm doing. There's enough work in this world for all of us. And I'd rather run and compete next to somebody who's capable, that has the tools, and has the same opportunities, because it's going to make both of us better. And it's going to be a better experience for the client. If we are both trying to execute at a high level in a similar field, we are raising the bar for everybody else who is not us. I want to run with operators. I want to run with operators that are capable and are going to provide a better experience in that industry for our prospective clients.
And that is super tough in the sales world, knowing in the competition world in general, helping somebody else that you're competing against, it's a massive mind shift to become great. Because if you're helping somebody that's that's starting a body shop, and you're competing against them, and you're giving them tools to help them succeed, and they're grateful for that, right? But boy, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm potentially giving away business to this guy, or this guy may become better than me in a competitive world. And that's my mindset. I don't know.
I want them to be better than me. I want them to push me for growth and prosperity, just like I want to push them for growth and prosperity.
But when you're setting those guys up and you're helping them and they're grateful for that, is that just to like, okay, if they become better for me, is that your carrot to chase? Okay, they become a little bit better than me, so now I'm gonna figure out what they're doing to help me become better. Is that
I have
you
coaching,
set that carrot?
Yeah, 100%. So it's not just a carrot for me and my team, it's a carrot for them and their team. I have people that come to me and say, this coaching just isn't working for me. Perfect. Do you want a referral to 3 other coaches? What? Why would you do that? Why would you help me get to another coach? Well, you need coaching. And if I'm not a good fit, then I'm not a good fit. And I want you to still get the help that you need. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to have helped you so far. If I'm not the person to get you to the next level, then it's a waste of my time and it's a waste of your time and our energy. I did that with the school.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
Can we be an open book about that? Because I know there's some stuff that you helped build some stuff out of there, and they kind of felt like they went to it. Well, they did go a different direction, I believe, correct?
Well, I coached them to a different direction because they needed to go a different direction, and I wasn't the right fit. I'm a strategist. I'm an executioner. A nonprofit, once it becomes healthy, they don't need strategy anymore. They don't need an executioner. They need people that are empathetic. They need people that can see a vision and execute on a vision. I'm too deep in the weeds sometimes to be a visionary.
Is that hard for you to let go of the reins, though, that after you spent so much time to build it, is it hard to let go and understand that you take them to a certain spot? I'm sure, coaches are the same way. Coaches can coach for 10, 15 years and they realize, what? They need somebody else new in there. But is that hard for you, for as many people that you've helped out in business and they go a different direction? Is there a little pull on your ego for that?
Oh, for sure. I'm human. Of course there is. But that's the part about, we had a podcast about emotional intelligence. That's the part about emotional intelligence that is validating and is rewarding. The human side of me is when you see them fail, is to be like, yep, they failed because they didn't have me.
Oh, good, dude. And I just hope people really hear that, because I'll have coming through to every single episode that we do on this. But to pull in your strings, like, God, I've just given so much to this, and how could they go someplace else? And why am I even doing this anymore? And understanding that even though your path has ended with them, there's a new path that's generated. And if it's done the right way and you acted the right way, that they're going to eventually, hopefully, help somebody else. That's what I'm hearing you say.
Well, I said it before, gratitude multiplies effort, right? So if I'm grateful that they're going down a different path, the amount of multiplication on that effort is exponential. If I hold somebody in a path that is not beneficial to them, all I'm doing is holding them back and holding myself back. Because then I can't take my effort that I was giving to them and take it somewhere else and multiply it and push it forward. Of course it pulls on my ego. Of course it doesn't feel good sometimes, but I have to decide, am I the right fit? And I have to be honest with myself. And we know that being honest with ourselves is the hardest thing we can do. That's why the mirror exercise sucks.
For those of you who are watching this right now, you're seeing my eyes go off to the looking up, and Brent has triggered so many things in my mind just this little time that we've spent together so far today that I struggle with. I like to have control. I'm super competitive. In my mindset, I feel that I'm better than a lot, which is an okay thing to think of, especially if you've been successful in your field. But I struggle, and maybe you guys are listening to this or watching this, but I struggle when they decide to take a different path. I'm like, dang it. It's like, to me, which it's a bad mindset now that I hear what Brent's saying, is I'm like, I lost. Instead of what Brent is saying is, I gained. I got him to where they needed to be, or her where they needed to be. And now they're going to the next level. And I'm like, well, I can take you to the next level. Why are you leaving me? In my mind, I'm not saying this out loud. In my mind, I can take you to the heights, but my capability at this time may only be able to get them so far. And I have to be okay. And I'm using myself as an example. I have to be okay for them looking for that next piece of the puzzle. And I struggle with that a lot, just because in my mindset, I've come, again, so far in so many different experiences that it's hard for me to release that.
Well, this goes into our next segment, which is the hidden cost of ingratitude. Ingratitude leads to chronic dissatisfaction, burnout, comparison, entitlement, and never arriving. You might win financially, but you'll still lose internally. The most dangerous place to live is success without appreciation. And you see it so much in business. I see it so much in business.
There's a lot of aha moments in my mind right now.
You got to take, and it's the toughest thing for humans to do, is to take your ego and place it in a box on a shelf and put it away.
This is not Therapy Thursday. This is
Wisdom Wednesday.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's where I'm kind of struggling in business right now, because I have a lot of people that I've coached or have done some different things or have had good conversations with them. And I feel like they're moving on, and I'm trying desperately to hold on to that or fight for attention. And you're right. It's a lot of wasted energy, and it's a detriment to who I'm becoming. It's holding me back.
Correct. Public praise is greater than private criticism. You must celebrate progress, not just outcomes. And this is something that I've been doing over the last couple of years. Thank people before they earn it, because belief creates performance.
I'm pseudo uncomfortable right now in a good way.
So it goes back to what I talked about with the restaurant experience a couple of episodes ago. I set the tone with my servers at a restaurant before I even order my food. When I'm seated, I introduce myself to them. I ask them one thing about them personally. I set the tone and say, I know this is going to be a good experience. I'm grateful that I'm here and we're going to eat and you're going to bring me food. And I know you're going to do your best. I've just set the tone for that whole experience, that I'm going to get a good experience and they're going to provide that good experience. I learned it from somebody who tips before the end of the meal. They tip at the beginning of the meal.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
But I can see how that works.
So here's how it's going to go. David, I know this experience is going to be great, and I'm going to leave you a 30% tip.
So, okay, someone's going to ask this question. How do you know what your bill is?
Who cares what the bill is? You care about the outcome. You want to have a good experience. Can you imagine the difference that's going to be if they feel like they're begging for their tip and they have to earn it versus already getting it and setting the tone of how you want the experience to go?
I see what you're saying. It doesn't matter if it's a $100 tip or a $1,000 tip. You're telling them right off the bat, I'm giving you 30%. Obviously with your words first to kind of lead into that. That's genius, brother. I feel bad for the other people in the restaurant, but it's genius, because you're probably going to get some better attention or having other,
Well, of course, because you're leading with gratitude before the action happens.
Do that. That is so good. It's genius, because those guys are probably, I feel bad for the service workers, especially in this world, believe it or not, when the land of, place where I live in a bubble, or the land of make-believe, because of the wealth that we have surrounding us here in this little bubble of Coachella Valley. I see guys busting their butt, and then some people just kind of take it as, yeah, that's what you're here for. So I'm not going to recognize your services, to leave them a 5% tip to 0 tip. I've seen like the wealthiest of wealthiest do that. I'm like, what are you doing?
Well, it goes back to what I just said. The most dangerous place is to live in success without appreciation.
There's so many golden nuggets on this. I hope you guys, when you're listening to this or watching this, is just that you go back and just really feel that for a moment. Because where Brent's coming from and having that mindset, which we said at the beginning of the show, the ripple effect on and everything that he's brought up today, so good. And all of us live under a microscope. And how you remember, it's kind of going back to you did well, a good and faithful servant, right? How long did it, again, knowing you for so long, I kind of know the answer to this question. How long did it take you to get there? Is it going back to what you said? Was it a 90-day thing? Like, I'm dedicated to this for the next 90 days, or was it something that was just a culmination of different thoughts throughout your last 3 or 4 years
Well,
to really like, I need to make some changes, and I'm going to pick this change because I know that this will culminate into other things?
it all comes from not being happy with the outcome. So if you're not happy with the outcome, you have to change the trajectory to get to the outcome. If I'm getting crappy service all the time, what do I need to change in me to facilitate better service? Remember, it's our responsibility. Let me reframe this. Waking up every day and realizing and asking yourself this question: what do I already have that someone else is praying for?
You're giving a masterclass right now. Remember when one thing I didn't tell you guys that I normally tell you guys, so if you ever watched the 133 other episodes, is Brent is one hell of a coach, and business-wise and personal-wise. And even though we've been talking super transactional for the past 20 minutes on this, I mean, how good is that when you invest into relationships? And I'm really specifically going to go into relationships with your spouse, your boyfriend and girlfriend, your husband and wife, that you invest that gratitude right off the bat, and how that changes anything, no matter where your relationship is. If you're having a rocky relationship, it's very easy to point the finger at what the other person's not doing. But what am I doing in this relationship that's most likely causing it? Going back to your mirror exercise, right? What am I doing that my relationship is not better today than it was yesterday?
I got schooled a number of years ago, 15, 20 years ago, by somebody, and they said, "You told me that you would always be here for me, but when the times got tough, you were the first person to leave." So set the tone up front. Things might get tough, but I'm grateful to go through it with you. Things might get tough, and I say this now because it's easy to say when I'm happy that I won't leave. But if I start to head towards the door, remind me of what I said. Gratitude doesn't mean you stop striving. It means you stop suffering while you strive. You have to make a decision. Do I want to stop suffering? Do I want to stop suffering for 21 days? Do I want to stop suffering for 90 days? Or do I want to stop suffering, period? And if I do, how am I going to go make a damn difference?
So it starts with us.
It starts with us. Gratitude fuels ambition without destroying peace. Gratitude isn't about pretending. It's about anchoring. Anchor yourself on the rock. That way you can pull others up too. How weird would it be if you did everything like the tip exercise? If you tipped or discussed the tip that's going to be left in every instance, in every situation in your life for the next 90 days before you received anything from someone else, what difference would that make in your life and the lives of others? The good book tells us to give without ceasing.
I say that a lot. Give with no expectations of a return.
Not even that. Keep giving no matter the outcome.
Right.
It's not even about expectations. Give before, so you set the outcome.
So for those of you who are like me and become very selfish with your time, I hope this hits home today, that if things are not going smoothly, that you really go back and listen to actually everything that Brent said today. He just gave a master class to fix what's going on basically in society today, which we talk a lot about, that people are super angry and blaming other people and doing this stuff. And we've talked about the mirror exercise, and we've talked about building your castle, and we've talked about building your kingdom, and talked about so many different things. And this is a little bit of a culmination of what we've talked about this year, but we'll continue to peel back the onion. We're going deep. I mean, it's typical that we're 45 minutes of an episode, and the last 2 episodes we've been scratching an hour because people have reached out like, you guys need to go deeper. We went pretty deep today. But if you're struggling, like figuring out that maybe your life's in a world of crap, BS, whatever you want to call it, going back and doing the tip exercise, with your service person, setting the tone in your relationships, being grateful for them, letting them know that how grateful you are for them being in your lives. being your husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, and watching how that works. But it has to be a consistent effort. What Brent said, you've got to do it for 90 days. So if you have to write it down today, I'm going to do, maybe that's your 5 critical tasks, right? You have to do it every day where it becomes a habit, or it's not even a habit anymore. You said it becomes a part of your life, right? It becomes part of your being after 90 days. It's not even a thought process. That's some good stuff, dude.
So I'll finalize it with this one final reflection. It's one lesson, one win, and one person you'll thank for every day. And it's not so much as to tell yourself these things. You have to tell others. That's where the magic happens. It's our responsibility. Once you know what to do and then make a choice to do it, that's where the magic happens.
Is it easy?
It's not easy. It's the hardest thing ever. No different than the other 133 things we've talked about. If it was easy, everybody'd do it. And if it was easy, we wouldn't be having this podcast about it. How many times you taken somebody to dinner and they haven't said thank you? Did you set the tone? Hey, I just want to say right up front, I'm going to buy dinner tonight because I'm thankful and grateful for you. I'm thankful and grateful that you took the time to break bread with me, because I only eat with people that I want to invest in. What are the chances that person's not going to feel gratitude towards you because you set the tone on how the whole interaction is going to go? If you want better interactions, create them before they happen.
Thank you, Jesus. Did good, dude. I appreciate this conversation.
Likewise. I appreciate the opportunity to have these conversations every week with you.
It's just so awesome. I mean, I know I said this, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but man, knowing you where you were and seeing where you've become today, it's freaking awesome. It's awesome.
I'm excited to see where we go from here.
I know, man. It's been one hell of a ride. This is one thing that I look forward to in every week. We haven't deviated off of, because there's just so much good stuff that comes from it, right? And we're making an impact. I mean, we're starting to see it. There's times it's been deflating in so many different ways when you look at numbers, but our numbers over the past 3-4 weeks have slowly gotten better. And that's when you're making an impact. And that's the motivation. Like, okay, we threw one more starfish back and we made an impact.
Well, if it was, like I said, if it was easy, everybody do it. There's over 800 podcasts that will start next month. 3 of them will finish up at the end of 2026, still on the air.
When we get, which kind of finish up with this a little bit, I know we've said we're going to wrap it up a couple times already, but a person that's been on this podcast twice reached out to me last Saturday. And it says, just so I don't forget to tell you later, your last episode of Old Guys Still rocked. Right time, right message, right people. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It was awesome. And that type of stuff is just amazing. So I'm like, oh, good, brother. Thank you. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was. So this was not last week's episode, but the episode before, 132, 2 big ones. Gave me an idea tied to one of my big challenges projects for next year, which you will be a part of. I don't know what that project is yet, by the way, but it's always been awesome with him. So second was the back and forth you had around dealing with critical comment from someone. I was completely spun around the axle the last few days about comments someone made that someone made to tied me to work together. I lost my ish over it, but then a cleaner head prevailed. So you and I get a lot of those messages, but that's when you know that you saved one starfish, and that part is awesome. So final thoughts for you.
Merry Christmas. Thankful and grateful for all of our listeners, all the people who have given us feedback. The amount of growth that has happened from every interaction is exponential. Just a simple thing that Kate and Edna came on our podcast. And now I'm aligned with 2 of probably some of the best people on earth. Kate, Edna, if you guys are listening, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You have made not only my life better, but the lives of my family and my friends, our community. We've impacted over 1,000 clients with the Wellness Center this last year. And the impact that you've made upon those people and their families and my family will pay out so far into the future. It's legacy building, and I'm grateful for that.
Period. I'm kind of a loss for words, which is a little bit uncommon for me lately, but it's just an amazing platform. I'm grateful for God that he gave us to this and gave us the means to put this together. There's been a lot of great people we've had on, the Gigi's, the Ken McCumbers, as you said, Caitlin and Edna, the Joe Daniels, Ken Johnson's, Debbie Bennett. She just opened, she talked about the, emotional addiction.
Yep.
More than topical. She just opened up her wellness center, in essence, last week. So incredibly grateful for it. And if I missed a name, I'm super sorry. But anybody that's been on, obviously your wife, my wife, the impact it had on there. Chrissy's chomping at the bit to get back on here and talk more. We had Shelly Gordon on a little bit back. The impact that her being on here has spiderwebbed into something much greater with the women that she's impacting with her trials and tribulations. It's freaking awesome, dude. So if you think that you can make an impact in this world, which we know that you can, but you're afraid or you're trying to figure out how to do it, come sit next to me or come on this episode. I don't care if you're 1,000 miles away, because that's where Brent is 1,000 miles away. Come and tell us what type of impact you're making and be a part of our community. This is much more than just a podcast. We are helping people or helping them catapult into the next standard, the next echelon of your life. But come on here and share your wins and share your losses and how you became better, so we can start to make this community bigger, better, and stronger.
And go make a damn difference.
And until we see each other next week, have a Merry Christmas. Stay safe. But most of all, God bless, guys. All right, dude. This one hit home hard.
Good. It's what we needed.
I love you, brother. Be good.
Likewise. Have a good day, buddy. Take care.
Bye.